I do want women to know that there is an alternative to suppressing their bodies with hormones, that they can see their body as a good and they can live in that body holistically.
Totally. Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
Join co-hosts Jamie Rocci and Teresa Kenny as they educate women about the beauty of the feminine design and empower women to take charge of their health.
They're going to be so amazing. You're going to be so empowered by understanding your feminine genius and your hormone genius. I don't think I could live my whole life knowing this and not sharing it with anyone.
Hello, and welcome to the Hormone Genius Podcast. I am here with Jamie, and it is the start of season 6 of the Hormone Genius Podcast. We are pumped to start a new season. It's always a little weird when we haven't done this in a while, even though it's not been forever, just getting back into the swing of things. So Jamie and I were just catching up offline, and we're still catching up, and we'll catch up here live with you guys. This is going to be an episode where we kind of just touch on some exciting news, some new programs that, one new program that the Hormone Genius is going to be offering here come fall, hopefully. All about perimenopause. Mm-hmm. So you ladies out there who have been dying for us to talk more about perimenopause and hormone therapy and what do we do about this phase of life, we have got you. We are going to be giving you all the tips, and we kind of have an interesting background to that program and how that kind of got started and the inspiration behind it. So we'll tell you about that too. But Jamie, first of all, how's your summer been?
It has been filled with many things, Teresa. What's so fun about these season openers is that we do get to recall our summer. We take breaks in the summer, so our listeners probably have come to realize that. But yeah, busy summer, trips, planned the Fiat Institute Hormone Coach Retreat in Cedar Falls, Iowa, which is where I live. And so it was so fun to have hormone coaches gather and get inspired, grow in our sisterhood, get to meet each other in person, which is a huge gift. So that was super fun. I was just telling Teresa here before we hit record that we just got a new puppy today. So if any of you have animals in your home, you know that one animal can be a handful, but now we have 2 because we just got a second puppy for my husband's birthday. It was a surprise. So summer's been good. It was a good resting summer. We didn't take any really big, huge trips. We tried to lay low and just enjoy our town more than we do normally. We live in a cute little town with plenty to do and nothing hugely crazy. But Teresa, I am wondering what your trips were like, because if I recall, it seems like every summer there's some weird thing that goes wrong, to like a car breaking down, to a kidney stone. I can't remember all of the stories, but you always have like a crazy story. So did you have any crazy stories this summer, Teresa? Or was it all pretty low key?
Yeah, you are so right, Jamie. We are the family of very, very strong family disasters on vacations that make for good stories. And thankfully, no one is ever seriously hurt, but they're always exciting. So this year, I honestly have had a lot going on in my life, but I was feeling a little overwhelmed by going on a big vacation. And we were supposed to go to Colorado Springs. I had set it all up and I was starting to plan it. And I just got, that mother's intuition that it wasn't a good idea. And I ended up switching our vacation to going to the white sandy beaches in Nebraska. Jamie. So for those of you out there, you can look it up. There are white sandy beaches in Nebraska in a little area of western Nebraska near Burwell, which is where the largest rodeo in Nebraska is as well. And it's called the Calamus Reservoir. And we took our family out there, and you can do just the water stuff. And we did it's called tanking. Also known as tubing, it depends on what thing you get in the water, but it's like a river trip where you go down and you just kind of gently just go down the river and you just enjoy time together. And my kids loved it because they climbed up these huge sand hills. So this is the famous sand hills of Nebraska. And for those of you out there who aren't in Nebraska and probably think to yourself, who would want to live in Nebraska? I'm just telling you, and you'll have to take my word for it, or you'll have to come to Nebraska and believe me when I say that there are parts of Nebraska that truly look like Ireland.
Hmm.
And there is this area of Nebraska that you're just, there's a lot of farmland, a lot of corn, a lot of soybeans, but then you cross into the sandhills. And there are some areas in Nebraska, I'm telling you, you will not believe are Nebraska.
Oh,
And
I had no
they're
idea.
lush and green, and they are just full of sand. And it's pretty cool.
Huh. I had no idea of that, Teresa. No idea. Well, I'm glad you followed your mother's gut and intuition. So there were no crazy stories of anybody breaking an ankle or falling off a ledge. Hopefully there wasn't anyway.
Well, I have six sons, and they're from the ages of 11 up to 21. And I have a couple of sons who are always trying to make things exciting. And, so there's always a few moments of some kid jumping off a very large cliff. And in fact, my son Jude, there was one big jump he did off of a sandhill cliff, and there was a bunch of people at the bottom, and you could just hear all of the, because he jumped, he kind of hit his head a little bit.
Oh
It
no.
looked terrible. I have it on video because that's what the mom at the bottom is doing, not worrying about her children's life. I'm just videoing it. So,
You posted it on Facebook. I saw it, right?
yeah.
Was it
Then
in slow motion?
it was.
Yeah.
Jamie, here's a little secret about me. I am obsessed with slow-mo. I know that's so dorky. I get it, but my kids will make fun of me for the rest of my life. But I want to do everything in slow-mo. So if they're gonna jump off something, or I'm always like, wait, let's get a slow-mo.
Yeah. You know what I wish they did with slow-mo? And maybe they do, and I just haven't figured it out. I wish they just made every video just capable of slow-mo. Or you know how you have to get it just right to get the part? You have to hit play or record, I mean, and then it has to be just right to get the part you want. I wish there was some way to adjust it. Maybe there is. And if you know, then let us know that. But also, Teresa, I know you turned 50 this year.
Oh my gosh,
You
I
turned
did.
50. And
Yes.
yesterday, or was it yesterday? Whenever it was, I was in the car for a while and I was just looking on Facebook and I saw this little weird thing with the Hormone Genius logo and your boys made you a lightsaber, a
Yeah.
Hormone Genius lightsaber. I didn't know that. I saw like a thing, a majigger, and then I clicked on it and I thought that's the sweetest gift for two young boys to make for their mom. It's a
Yeah.
Hormone Genius lightsaber for their
Yeah.
50th birthday. How
Yeah.
sweet.
Get on our Instagram and look at it. It is so cool. It's the fourth or fifth one they've made. And I mean, you would look at it and think, what is that? But it is a lightsaber, but you have to imagine that the light comes out of it, right? But they make it out of just, recyclable stuff like paper towel, the holder of the paper towel, and little pieces of cardboard, and they painted it, and they take so much time, and they're so creative, and I was not expecting it. I don't know why, because other people have gotten it for their birthdays, but I wasn't expecting it, and so I was really shocked to see it. And yeah, they're adorable.
So cute.
So yeah.
So cute. One
But
other
yeah.
thing with my summer is my family made a big move. Not a move physically, but in our career. So my husband's been a public school teacher for 20 years, and your husband also has worked in the school system for years and years.
Yes.
But my husband just felt really called out of the public school system, and he is starting his own business called Rachi Skill Set Solutions, and he got training to be an executive functioning coach. So he didn't need the training, to be honest. He was in special ed for 20 years, so he knows. He definitely knows. But he did go through further kind of training certification so that he could launch an executive training or executive functioning coaching program for students in middle school, high school, college. So the reason this is important, and I want to share this Hormone Genius, is if moms are listening and their kids really struggle, really struggle. We have a kid that struggles a lot, and I think that's another reason why my husband's making this move is because he just knows how easy it is for these kids to unfortunately fall through the cracks, especially in the school system. So if your kids have ADHD, autism, neurodivergent in some sort of way, have problems with time management, getting their homework done in time, and they just need help and you need help, my husband is dedicating his professional life to this because it means so much to him and to us and to our family. I'm so proud, so proud of him. So for those of you who are interested in learning more, check out the show notes. But you can also email him. And again, we'll include this in the show notes. You can email him at justin@skillsetstrategies.com. And website is skillsetstrategies.com. I was so proud of him for that name. No one had that name. Can you believe it?
Yeah,
Skill
that's
Set
awesome.
Strategies. That's like a strong business name. Good job, Justin. So I wanted to make sure I shared that too.
That's awesome, Jamie. I'm so excited for him and for what that will do for your family. I know that it's different when, you're self-employed and you stay at home, and it can be really nice. And I hope that that really works out, and check out that information in the show notes for sure. Yeah, my husband's been at home for now. He'll be home again this year, and he's writing books. And I was telling you offline that he just came out with another children's book called The Fox and the Bear, and it is hilarious. The Fox and the Bear. Probably like great for a 3 to 6-year-old, Daniel Kenny. So you can always check out his books too. He has a ton. But yeah, Jamie, I know we're obviously going to talk about like this perimenopause program, but we're also going to recap just a little bit of our favorite season 5 episodes, because we just want to make sure you remember to go back and listen. If you're a first time listener, even, you're going to be like, well, what is this all about? Well, we are all about helping women to understand their hormones so they can become the genius of their hormones and really advocate for their own personal health and well-being. And all of the amazing people that we've had on are helping us do that. And I think Jamie and I were pretty floored by some of the episodes that we had. So Jamie, I know you've kind of been thinking about it. What are a few that you thought were amazing?
Okay, so in the world of hormone health, we hear and we learn some of the same things over and over, it feels like, which is good, not just in the podcast, but just in books and all these things. We know gut health is important for our hormones. We know eating right and movement are important for our hormones and health. Some of those things need to be reiterated, and some of these things, common things that we kind of just know, there are more things to uncover, which seems always so interesting. But the episodes that I thought were really, really cool this season or last season was that we're gonna have to push pause. Hold on a second. Hold on one second. Hold on. It's okay. Okay, sorry for the interruption. A little bit of a mom life happening there. That happens more than you guys probably realize. Getting interrupted by your littles. Okay, but some of my favorite episodes, Teresa, from season 5 was the dentist. So Dr. Katie Lee, she was the bomb. She literally, I've never met a dentist that was as cool as her. I mean, the dentist I go to is actually really amazing. Dentists actually are very cool, and I feel like they've just gotten cooler in the last 10 years. But she was very awesome. She's starting her own clinic. I think she's in Colorado, and it's a holistic clinic that includes like dietitians and nutritionalists, but it's in a dentist office, Teresa, as you remember. So I love that episode that hormone health starts in the mouth, because our digestive tract starts in the mouth, right? When we chew our food, when our saliva forms, and I never really thought about that much, Teresa. Like when I salivate, that's my digestive system starting immediately. So love that, and how brushing your teeth and flossing and really digging into that more was so interesting in terms of hormones.
We have to have her back, because like she never answered the question about the oil pulling. Yeah. I've had a couple of people follow up with me, and they're like, hey, Teresa, what was the answer to that? And I'm like, I don't know. She never answered it. So Dr. Lee, you'll have to come back and answer that question about the oil pulling. Anyway.
And like cavities, like we talked about kind of that, but I kind of want to know, like,
I know there's so much.
Can you reverse a cavity? Why do you get all this different advice when you go to different dentists about how many cavities you actually have? There's just there's so much to it about dentistry. That's very interesting. We'll learn more as time goes on. All right, what's one that you liked, Teresa?
Well, I know I really liked the one with Haley Yeager. You know, she's just a lovely young 20-some-year-old new fertility care practitioner, teacher of the Creighton model system. And I just loved how on fire she was.
Yeah.
And that she to me represents so many young women right now that are becoming so passionate about
Mhm.
women's health, and so many women that I meet that want to be helping in this
Mhm.
area.
Mhm.
And again, we talk about that a lot. Like, if you're inspired by this, like, find a way, keep talking to people, network, and you will find your kind of place in a sense where you feel like you are participating in this movement of helping restore women's bodies, restore women's hormones, and empower women to take charge of their health. So I thought she was awesome.
Yeah, she was very well spoken
Mm-hmm.
too. Very well spoken. Another one I loved was, Dr. Liz Jones. We talked
Yeah.
about pelvic floor health. We've talked about pelvic floor health before, and I've loved every single episode. Everyone has done an amazing job talking about that because it's a therapy that's more up and coming, I'd say, in the last 5-ish years. But the reason I love Dr. Liz Jones, her personality was awesome, but she also talked about the importance of men getting pelvic floor therapy. And that's not something I've thought about much at all. And I thought it was a very important episode. Teresa, I'm actually interested to know what the share rate was on that because sometimes we can tell, like annual reporting, what episodes were the most shared. So I'm
Yeah.
interested to know, like, did the women listen to that and share it with their husbands? Who knows?
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be a
It
good one.
was, she was
Did
I
really good.
listening to her, she was deep. She had deep wisdom.
Deep
You
wisdom.
could tell when people have
Mhm.
been doing something so long and they have like a deep wisdom. And she really believed in what she was doing, and had a lot of experience. So yeah, I want to bring her back on too.
Mhm.
Another one was, and I know Jamie, you love this one too, was Tiffany Cagwin
Yeah.
and the circadian rhythms. And I was actually just listening to Andrew Huberman at the swimming pool today. Great episode on cortisol.
Mhm.
And he got into the light and the circadian rhythms and how to balance your cortisol. So we definitely want to keep talking about that, because we know for women, many women feel like their cortisol is out of balance. They're kind of a
Mhm.
wreck when it comes to stress. And so we're all kind of looking for, how do we make sure that we can keep our circadian rhythms in balance? Because that's really what's going to make us feel the best. And she had great insights into that and gave us some really practical ideas.
Yes, I love the episode because she is again the example of she turned the rock over. It's like we managed every part, but not actually every part. We could have her on again, definitely as well. But I learned new things I hadn't heard before. And so those are always the best episodes. Another one that Teresa and I both loved talking about was the ultra processed food
Mm-hmm.
episode. And that book called Ultra Processed People is what really inspired it. If you haven't read it, read it because truly, like when we think about a healthy lifestyle and our hormones, things can become really overcomplicated. How much, we're eating carbs and we're eating sugars and we're eating proteins, of course, and our fats and how what ratio of what do we need? And it becomes complicated, like an equation. And really, honestly, reading this book just helps you think. Just eat real food, people.
Yeah.
Keep it simple at first, right? Just eat real food. Eat real food. And it did an amazing job of sharing very persuasive studies about what happens when two groups of people literally eat the same amount of calories. Same
Yeah.
amount of calories, but the food quality was different. A pizza was made by scratch, a pizza was processed, two different groups. Same kind of food, but one was processed, ultra processed, one wasn't as processed. One group gained more weight, same amount of calories, same type of food, but the ultra processed group gained more weight. And I thought that was like a huge breakthrough in science and health and wellness. It doesn't seem like that should be the case, but it makes sense. Got to eat real food.
It does make sense. And I think maybe this will launch us into kind of talking about the perimenopause thing, because I feel like women in this
Yeah.
age group, they're very confused at what's going on in their bodies. And the weight gain that comes with this transition is the most frustrating thing that
Hmm.
women probably go through. And it makes me wonder about how much of it is ultra processed foods slash the toxins. And it's not just as simple as like you're just eating too much or something. You know, I
Right.
just think there's more there.
Right.
And so, Jamie, talking about this perimenopause thing, because we're
Yeah.
excited about it.
Mhm.
You know, what inspired this was kind of this thing that my husband and I had been talking about, which is this idea that we've got to, okay, so my husband and I just turned both 50 in this last year, and I just turned 50 in July. And both of us really at the around 47, 48 decided we have got to make changes. And he particularly, like his health had to really make significant change, and he had lost a bunch of weight in the last few years. And then he gained a ton of muscle mass, but he's just changed his life so much. He's like, I want to be the healthiest 50-year-old that I possibly can be. But what came out of that is a lot of conversations about what are the simple, practical things that we can do to slowly turn our lives around. And we started to kind of develop this concept of something called the 4x4 challenge. And the 4x4 challenge is just this kind of idea that you could change your life by doing 4 simple things over a period of, and we kind of can't, we went back and forth like 4 weeks, 4 months, 4 years. But really, it's kind of like no matter what amount of time it is, it doesn't really matter. The 4 things that you need to do to change your life, it has to be forever. You know, like it has to be a commitment to those things are the most important, but it's not for 4 weeks. It's not a 90-day program. It's not a simple quick fix. That committing to your health, you know, at 40, at 50, at 60 and beyond is a commitment for life. But there are some simple things that we can all do. So yes, this is directed to perimenopause, but even if you're not, if you don't consider yourself perimenopause, if you're 25, if you're 35, it won't matter because all of this can apply to anybody's health.
Yeah, amen. And I always think about the container, meaning us. We're the container. We're the container. And every container, and we're more than a container, obviously, but we can hold different things. And again, thinking about containers, and I'm going to say cocktail, it's a different cocktail. There's different parts of us that respond to different things. For instance, if I'm trying to lose weight as a woman in perimenopause, but I have a history of an eating disorder, which is the case for me, my action plan is going to look a lot different. And I'm going to be very aware of the choices I'm making as to not aggravate or activate a temptation or something that could be a problem for me. And I cannot believe or imagine that I'm the only one thinking that. So it's always thinking about that balance. And in myself, if it's for me, if I'm ever at all or nothing, that is a red flag. Personally, for me, some people, that's how they have to be. Maybe it's like all or nothing for them. I can't speak to others, but for me, that's never going to be healthy in my mind. For me, I think 80-20. 80%, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to eat well. I'm going to take care of this body, but 20%, I'm going to enjoy whatever food I really love. I love warm cookies and cold milk. I love it. My favorite thing. I'm going to continue doing that because that's my 20%. And so something that Teresa and I really thought about going through this program is we go through this 4x4 part. Like, what are 4 daily habits that we can do that aren't super crazy difficult? It's not something necessarily you're taking away. It's something that you're adding to your life. But also, you know, thinking about the container, thinking about who you are. Everybody's experience going through this perimenopause program is going to be different because of your experience and because of even your body and how it operates and your genetics and your story. And so there's a second part to this program that takes all of that into account. Because again, just to say, let's do these 4 things and here we go, here's the plan, we're missing 50% of the equation. We want to think about who is the one doing this program. And if we know where our temptations are, our weaknesses, even our strengths, we're going to have a more successful way or a successful experience going through a program that adjusts, that addresses these matters.
Yeah. I want it to be very holistic because I think, you know, I think about, there was a woman I saw this last week and, you know, and I felt very connected to her because her mom was going through early onset dementia. And everything was happening all at once. her mom's going through dementia. She's the only sibling that is in her city with her mom. She feels alone and isolated, and in that, having to kind of care for her mom. She's feeling her body change. She's 10 to 15 pounds heavier than she was last year. Like everything seems to be happening to her at once. And I'm looking at her going, that's me too. Like my mom has had Alzheimer's for a long, long time. We just put her into memory care after years of being able to take care of her at home. My dad is sick too and not doing well. And you're trying to balance so many things, and you need to have like a spiritual connection to yourself and your life. You have to have a way to process all of this. So we want to validate people's experiences of going through perimenopause, that this is difficult because life is full of all sorts of different experiences that are not always easy. There's a lot of suffering, and every person's situation is unique, and their family of origin is unique. And like you said, some have eating disorder history, some do not. There's just, everyone is unique. And so in saying that, even though this is like, oh, it's another program, right? It's another, if you just do this, your life's going to be okay and you're going to be thin and happy. Well, no, I mean, of course we don't believe that. Like in some ways I want to rail against that. I don't necessarily think this is going to fix everything in your life. I don't necessarily think that this is easy, but I believe it's worthwhile. And I believe that through suffering and challenges, like we can come out on the other end stronger. And if anything, that's going to be the tagline to this whole thing is come out stronger, physically, mentally, spiritually, come out stronger. And if you come out stronger, no matter what, you will live and you will keep fighting. You'll keep fighting. And I know it'll bring people peace and happiness in that. So.
Yeah, definitely. And even knowing too that you're not alone. I think so many women suffer alone, or they may feel shame for looking different in the mirror than they used to look. And it's not something they necessarily even want to bring up or talk about. But what's amazing is that many women, this is not a unique thing to one woman in this phase of life. It's very common to many women in this phase of life in terms of we just noticed things are shifting, more wrinkles and lines on our face. Obviously our waistline might be different than it was 10 years ago. So what I love so much about this too is there's like, a community component about our offering, Teresa, that while someone can do this on their own or grab a friend and do this with them, this kind of 4x4 challenge, it is meant to do with others. And I know for me, when I'm in a group and I'm looking for healing, or I'm wanting to learn, or I'm wanting to enhance something, it's always going to be, for me personally, a way more fun experience, life-giving experience when I'm doing it with someone else. And I think it's just because so many women were made for community. If you don't have that community close by, we can be your community.
Yeah.
So just know that as well.
Awesome. Well, Jamie, is there anything else we need to say about that, about the program, or about season 6? I mean, we're going to be talking about so many awesome things. We have, just so you know, we have so many people that want to be interviewed on Genius Podcast. Guys, I mean, we've got probably like emails that come in. I mean, so we have a plethora of experts in so many areas that want to be interviewed, and we are going to pick the best ones for season 6 and beyond, so that you guys get all of this free information to empower yourself to be, again, the genius of your own hormones. And we're just excited. You're still here and continuing to listen. And if you're new to us, thank you for listening. Please subscribe in every way that you can and continue to support the Hormone Genius podcast.
And also just a reminder, so for season 6, a personal goal for us as the podcasters, and especially for 2026 as January comes, is to really be providing the opportunity for people to have sponsored ads on our podcast. We want to find aligned professionals, business owners, service providers who we can market. And again, it's a great way to build up others. What is it? A rising tide rises all ships. So we really want to build that up. And whether you're in a hormone related business or not, if you offer great work or you have a great product and you want to share that with us, please do. Again, because we are looking for episode sponsors. We're looking for podcast partners. Podcast partners are people we mention every single episode. And an episode sponsor, which is different than a podcast partner, is somebody that we mention at the beginning, middle, or end of an episode. And then also affiliate relationships. So that's something that we're we're looking forward to promoting more. And so you'll be hearing more about that. But if you would like to be considered, please check out our show notes because there will be an application form to fill out if that's something that interests you.
Yes.
So,
awesome. Yeah. And we didn't mention, you should mention our current podcast partner, which is We Heart Nutrition. Thank you to We Heart Nutrition. They have been an incredible podcast partner. Again, you can be just like them and we will shout you out on the Hormone Genius. Their supplements we believe in. They were just on our podcast. Kristen was, so please check that out. That was just the latest episode before season 6 started. So thanks to We Heart Nutrition as well. Jamie, I will see you real soon because here we go. Season 6 is on its way. Here we go.
Thanks for listening to the Hormone Genius podcast. Please remember to share our podcast with your friends and family and also follow us on social media. If you were not aware, we have a YouTube channel. So if you could like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay in the loop with all of our latest episodes, we would appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. We are excited to journey alongside you as you discover the beauty and the genius of your hormones.